It's time to shake and wake up the world with the best biblical talk shows from all over the world gathered in one place. ShakeandWakeRadio.com, where the truth is all that matters, and the truth will set you free. ShakeandWakeRadio.com.
This is not some soul's factory. This is long, quiet days with the Father. This is obedience. This is cold, early mornings, tired, rough hands, and hot summer days. This is quality before quantity. This is where you're not just a customer, you're a client. I don't just work for you, but with you. This is where your ideas come to life. I am Joshua Watts. I love what I do and that I'm able to use my skills to serve our Father and you. I look forward to working with you. This is Joshua Watts Leathercomb.
FOJC Radio, David and Donna Carrico, the dynamic duo of followers of Jesus Christ. Nah, we're just regular people. We're just loving and serving the Lord, and we challenge you to love and serve the Lord and learn all that you can about Him. We're preaching the gospel of the kingdom and teaching the doctrine of Christ to the whole world. And thanks again for listening to our programs, and blessings to all of you.
Declaring war on the New World Order. TruthRadioshow.com.
And welcome everybody to Spiritual Warfare Friday. We are live, like John Pounders in the chat room says all the time. So this is May 1st, 2026 here. And we're going to talk about G.A.T.E program exposed, which stands for Gifted in talented education. And we're going to get to some testimonies. We got a guest here. Doc Skinner is going to be joining us. And we got some other stuff going on here, guys. We might take some phone calls tonight. Depends, because I'm exhausted. Been a long day, really long day. So I want to thank ShakeandWakeRadio.com for carrying the show on an awesome, amazing network. And check out WatchLeather.com, guys, where your custom leather project becomes a reality. WatchLeather.com. And also SToJades.com. Discover the power of holistic wellness for your mind, body, and spirit. Transform your life with natural solutions. One of our main sponsors. And like always, we'd like to promote their famous pain buster cream, 750 milligrams of CBD. I mean, it really penetrates. I'm a powerlifter, wrestler, and all that. So when my body gets beat up, I put this stuff on, topical cream, and it's gone, literally, like minutes, not even. And it's really cool. And it's all organic, no GMOs, nothing like that. And there's a QR code for their Facebook page, so check them out, S&J's Ltd. So early today, guys, I want to announce the brand new married couple, Brother Tim and the Maris Morgan now, known as Brother Wu and Sister Wu. I was honored to marry them today, officiate their marriage today, about 6 o'clock a few hours ago. And so we did it over the line. It's really, really cool. So if you want to watch the wedding, we got it on the channel here. So check it out later on. And so tonight, GA.T E program exposed, and we're going to tie this in, guys, that this is some diabolical stuff. And I know a lot of people say, what are you talking about? I've been through this program. But, here's the thing. It starts off in the schools, and, yeah, where's this going? And it's not a coincidence, and I don't want to spoil it right now, but there's not a coincidence that at the same time the CIA will run the programs, the GATE Project, Gateway Project, Operation Sunscreen, all these things going on, all to do with ESP, taking people into subconscious levels and doing all kinds of wacky stuff. And with our school children, I myself went through one of these things. So the GATE program is a gifted and talented education program. So I want to bring in Mr. Doc Skinner. How you doing, brother?
Hi, how you doing?
Awesome, man. And pleasure to have you on. And thank you, John Pounders, who introduced me to Mr. Skinner here. And it's going to be a great program. Thank you, man.
Thank you very much for having me.
And if you want to give an introduction to yourself, and also, by all means, he's trying to promote your conference you're trying to get going and all that stuff.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, let's see. I'm a producer, filmmaker, documentarian, podcaster, radio actor, the whole nine yards, like most GATE kids that were the rebels when they divided us up into two camps. A lot of us, we wanted to be famous for some reason or another. And we chose entertainment, whether it's music, acting, podcasting, whatever. Because it turns out GATE kids are allergic to 9-to-5 jobs.
That's for sure.
And we stay up a lot at night. Mine is I just have trouble sleeping because of things throughout my life that had happened. And it's like this feeling that there's always going to be this other foot that's going to drop at any moment, kind of like what everybody feels these days, because everything, 20, 30 years ago, you had a plane crash maybe once every 6 months, and school shootings were like, maybe Columbine was the first big one, but now it's like every day, and we are just so desensitized by it. And a lot of GATE kids, we saw this stuff. That's why they picked us, because we were able to see and understand things differently than the sheep. And that's why they did what they did. One, because kids were more susceptible to doing shoot, I just can't say it. The hemisync.
Yeah.
With the Monroe Institute, which, of course, we've learned was a CIA program to filter us out, because it all started over in Russia. Russia was doing things with remote viewing and with psychics and twins and all these things. And of course, we laughed at it like, oh, it's mumbo jumbo. But then they started seeing the results that the Russians were coming up with, and they were like, oh, crap. Maybe we need to look into this a little more seriously. So they started doing that. And Monroe actually was in radio broadcasting originally. And that's what led him to study frequencies. And the frequencies were then, his study was picked up by the military. They're like, what is he up to? And they were able to incorporate it and give him a lot of money to start his Monroe Institute to do this study and to see what they could do with the human mind. They can make super soldiers, they can manipulate crowds, all of this with frequencies. And the by doing the first thing they would do was the fluoride test and the spine test and the hearing test and all this stuff, which was the first step. And they would do the hearing test, and the kids that were susceptible. That was really hard to get out, if that's even the right word. The rebels were the ones that they were like, okay, they're still able to do the Zener cards. Zener cards. Where are my Zener cards? Here they are. If anybody doesn't know what Zener cards are, these are Zener cards. They have these little symbols, and they're part of the psychic test. And if you did really well, even though you took the fluoride, then that meant that you were a little more special. So then they would start separating us and pulling us out individually, putting us in isolated rooms, and then they would give us the secondary pink drink, which was scopolamine. Scopolamine is also in Pepto-Bismol. It's used for nausea and stuff, but it's also used for like anesthesia during surgeries. And this comes from a plant called the angel trumpet. And this is I don't know how they process it, but it turns into a powder. And if you ingest this, or if it's blown in your face, which a lot of Haitian voodoo doctors will use to create zombies out of people, which is like a temporary enslavement where you have full control. You can say, do this, and they'll do it willingly. Criminals in tourist towns down south, like Florida, Miami, and other places, Louisiana, will find somebody and they'll blow this in their face, and then they'll say, take me to your hotel, and I want everything, and you're going to help me. And you will help them move your stuff out into their car without even a doubt, no inhibition. You just do it. And so with this, they would give us these little shot glasses of the pink liquid, and they made it taste like bubble gum, the scopolamine. So it was, you were enticed to want to take it because it tasted really good, right? Well, that was measured just enough to give you temporary amnesia for about 30 to 45 minutes. Now, the Hemisync tapes, which are multiple, each one's around 30 to 45 minutes. That gives them time to pull you out of class during an hour session, get you in there, have you drink it, then put on the Hemisyncs. And by the time you're listening to the Hemisyncs, you're already in a state of consciousness that makes you susceptible to what they're trying to do, which was allowing us to have out-of-body experiences. And a lot of the kids, we would have them when we were children. And a lot of us thought of it as fun because you could run in a field and then boom, you're Superman, you're flying, going to different places. So, I'm sorry, Dan. I also am a podcaster, so sometimes I'll go and go and go. You can stop me anytime.
Go for it, man.
I'm so sorry.
I love it, man. And I love bringing on people who have a lot of knowledge and can talk a lot. And like real quick too, this Hemisync, I was doing some investigation, and it talks about altering your state of conscious. And this is a video here, and I'm just going to play a couple seconds of this because I don't want to do something to people, whatever the stuff does. But this is one. Activate them? Yeah, activate them.
You just activated a sleeper cell, Dan.
Yep, sleeper cell. Yeah, so this is the actual Gateway Experience wave track. I'm going to play a couple seconds. This is kind of creepy stuff.
This is the first step along your path to a gateway beyond which is discovery, your own discovery of reality, of truth, of who and what you are. Now a simple preparation. Because of the special audio techniques used, it's important that certain sounds reach your right ear and others your left ear.
And the headphones I got up here, these were basically the general headphones, these big clumpy headphones that they would slap on your head, and you would listen to this garbage. And there's a bunch of them. I mean, there's, dozens.
But look at them. See the playlist in front of you?
Yep.
They're all under 45 minutes, giving them time to execute their session with the child. And then by the time they get back to class, they don't remember what happened in the past 30 minutes.
Wow.
So yeah, see how they're all under 40 minutes?
Yep.
You have one that's 45. And if you listen to them now, I mean, literally, I was playing them last week or week before that, and I was listening to it, and you hear Monroe, you hear the, that traumatizes some people, and you hear the waves and everything, and there's stuff that you can't hear, subliminals going in the left and right ear. But then there's a point where there's just silence. I want to know what's in that silent gap in each of those sessions, because it's got to be subliminal.
Yeah.
If anybody can figure that out, what's in those silent gaps or under the ocean current, there you go.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't doubt it at all. We got a sound guy, Joshua Watts, the leather guy there, but he does music and all that. Be interesting for him to break it down, put on an audio thing, and see if there's any hidden audio in there. And I 100% believe that. I really do. The subliminal stuff, because that's what these people use, and sometimes you don't even hear it. You know what I mean? And we have things here in Rhode Island we can explain that's going on and all that. But they call it the hum in Rhode Island. It's like late at night in the summer night, you hear this, like nobody knows where it's coming from. It's just like a quiet motor running, and nobody knows where it's coming from. And it's crazy stuff.
In Rhode Island, you said?
Yep.
Well,
we think it's to do with the
just
Gwen
so you
Towers.
know, just so you know, Camp Hero is still active. It still has power going to the main tower.
What is it called?
Camp Hero in Montauk, where the Montauk project took place.
Oh yeah.
Are you familiar with Montauk?
A Montauk project, yeah, but Camp Hero project.
Camp Hero was where Montauk. People just think Montauk Island, but the military name was Camp Hero.
Yeah.
It was designed as the most high-tech, largest radar system that was closest to Russia, so they could, spot missiles coming over first there. But it was so powerful that Preston Nichols, who's working on it, they were noticing that different frequencies that they were putting out there were affecting the people in the town of Montauk, and they were keeping notes of, okay, this frequency is causing people to get really pissed off. This one's keeping people depressed, and that was the beginning. That's when they started realizing what they could do, and they just, it went down a really bad dark hole with what they did with thousands, if not tens of thousands of children and people that were used and experimented on there, and some still alive today, surprisingly. When those children, the Montauk kids, they had what's the word I'm looking for? They were programmed to not live past 33, meaning if they made it to 33, they had to make themselves unalive. And a couple people that one in particular, gentleman who was in Montauk Enigma by my friend who has the Dark Hour Paranormal show. He did a documentary on it, and with Preston was in it, and they were able to deprogram this kid so he wouldn't do that. So he's one of the few that made it past 33.
Wow. Now, I know
so anyway, so that was going on, and then of course
the Gwen Towers and
the what about the towers?
The Gwen Towers they had with the mind control stuff, and going back to frequencies. I mean, you get more into this hemi-sync technology. As right here it says, deep meditation. So it offers to reach profound meditative states quicker than traditional methods. So that 45 minutes in the classroom, that's what they would do. Improve sleep, supposedly, enhance focus, and also expand on awareness. Advanced programs like Gateway Experience. They have that CIA program. It's how it's all linked. That's crazy. Are used for exploring altered states of consciousness. Now, everything we're going to show you tonight, guys, you'll see this statement and all this stuff. These chemicals, the chemical that he brought up is another medicine out there that does this stuff, and they're all pink. They're all pink things, and every one of them alter the state of consciousness. The frequencies they use, the programs, Gateway Experience Project, the Project Stargate, Project Sunscreen, all altering your state of consciousness. And this man, Robert Monroe, being an expert in music and sounds and all that, this is what they do in the New Age show. You hear the New Age meditation and all that, and I remember going to sleep to these things. I didn't know any better. And I'm in like Egypt somewhere. There was some crazy stuff going on in my head. I'm like, what the heck is going on? You know what I mean? So these frequencies, literally, the pineal gland we talk about all the time, the occultists use and everything, that's what is going on. And they opened in gateways, and I had out-of-body experiences and everything else. And so this is some real stuff. And imagine in your classroom, man. And this is how I figured out how they get away with, telling the parents. So the kids were like, if they remember, they made me drink a pink substance. And the school would be like, the parents ask, the school would be like, no, he didn't drink it. It was just a fluoride rinse. Here it is right here. And a perfect cover. You know what I mean? He's a young kid. He's not going to know any better, right? So, and a lot of the testimonies I got, some people who did drink the drink, and just the kids that were going for the GATE project, right? They were told to drink it. But now the fluoride rinse, you put it in your mouth, swish it around, spit it out, and you just throw the cup away. This here, you drink a thick liquid substance, and they had to collect the cup. And you had to drink it versus spit, swishing it out. Yep. And only the kids going to the GATE project were told to drink the stuff. So, and again, the cover story be, oh, no, he didn't drink it. It was just a fluoride rinse. So the parents would just quickly dismiss it. Tastes the same, look the same, but this one was thicker, you know what I mean? So that's, big thing. And I got some slides here. And that was the regular pink rinse there. They put in all the cups and, you go around the classroom and all that. But this one here, in the thing, so what does that have to do with taking a mental test? You know what I mean? Well, your teeth or whatever. But everybody was giving this in the classroom. But, when you got pulled out of class, you're sitting there taking a math test, all of a sudden, hey, Mr. Bidondi, come on, I need to talk to you, the counselor talks to you. Then all of a sudden you're in this classroom with these people you don't even know, and they make you drink this pink, thick liquid stuff, and then next thing you have no clue what the heck just happened. Remember putting the headphones on, and everything after that went blank. Then all of a sudden you're sitting in yep.
I was going to say, I actually ordered those headphones. You can get them on Amazon. Because when I do GateCon, I was going to have like a display set up. But yeah. Yeah, a lot of this, it's the Duffer Brothers, they tried to expose this. Stranger Things was originally called Montauk, and it was all going to take place in the island of Montauk. But Netflix was like, oh, wait a minute. The founders of Netflix happen to be related to, was it Goebbels, the guy that did propaganda for Hitler? Anyway, whichever Nazi
the
that
Minister
guy
of
was.
Propaganda, Joseph Goebbels. Yep.
Goebbels. I was okay. Yep. I was right. Well, his great grandkids are the ones that started Netflix. Oh, so when the Duffer Brothers said, "Hey, we got this thing called Montauk," and all this, they were looking at it going, "Yeah, that would be good, but let's move it to Indiana and call it Stranger Things." Yeah, we'll do that. And the Duffer Brothers were like, okay. So yeah, it was all based, how the kids were taken, of course, on the Montauk level, not GATE. GATE was more, you got to go home every day. Montauk was like, you were taken, and they had you, or you were born into it, But all that stuff was a horrible history on that location. And the fact that the military got involved, of course, people at Area 51 and all, they were using what's called the Montauk chair, which was a chair taken out of a spacecraft. And the spacecraft didn't have any controls because it joins with the pilot, and it's like a mental lock. Kind of like the Avatar, how they connect to the animals and stuff. It's like that, but a spacecraft. And so the chair had this ability to amplify the psychic abilities. So they sent the chair to Montauk, and it was put in the basement of the main big radar tower where all the major power would go to. And they pumped the chair while they had kids on, the seat to amplify, their psychic abilities. And one kid was he created this digitized looking, kind of like a snowy digitized looking Bigfoot. And it was very, very tall, and it started destroying things and killing, people on the base and destroying buildings. And that's where Preston Nichols had to come in, because even though they shut everything off, power was still coming in and running this chair and having this beast just go on a rampage. That's why he took an axe and started chopping the main power lines. And people that have gone in there and videotaped it years later, you can see where he took an axe and killed all the lines. So that's how the What's the creature in Stranger Things? The main bad guy. What's his name? Uh, Brain fart. This is what happens when you get old.
Yeah.
But that was basically based off of, 11. What she did by creating that creature and the wormhole and everything was what this young boy did in the Montauk chair. So I think that's why Stranger Things resonated with so many people worldwide, is because there was something that, people can tell, even though they're getting BS'd, they can tell that there's some truth to it, you know? And like they say in every writing class on day one, write what you know. So everything comes from something you know.
And it reminds me, when you were talking about that, right away it hit my head, Placebo in the movie X-Men, where I forgot the main character there. He's the one with the mental abilities and all that. So they were in this big dome just like that, and they put this thing on his head, and the dome would amplify his psychic abilities. You could see people all over the world, hear everybody, see what's going on, and do all kinds of psychic things. And they called the place Placebo. And again, it was a big dome, like that satellite thing that would enhance his abilities to do this. And so it's in the movie X-Men, Captain Picard.
Well,
there.
Yeah,
But-
and Patrick Stewart. Yeah.
Patrick
And
Stewart,
so what he was being portrayed, that's remote viewing. Okay? You don't have to sit in a big room in a chair to do that, but the chair was like the Montauk chair. It amplified his psychic abilities. So these elements of history and truth are right in front of us in the entertainment industry. And that's why I've always been in the entertainment industry, because I feel like I know who the all-powerful Oz is. I see what goes on behind the curtain, so I can see what's going on in politics and the world and all that, because I get it. Where other people, they just blindly go with whatever they're told, which is a lot of lemmings here on this planet.
yeah.
Dude, I was going somewhere with this and I just went blank. I was messing with my green screen if you didn't notice. I was like, oh no, it's like the Oz. Don't pay attention to the guy behind the green screen.
Yeah, I like that background. It's pretty cool. But yeah, it's amazing.
I made it for GateCon, which I'm trying to get sponsors for the deposits on the hotel ballroom and everything in Phoenix. We're going to try on 4th of July weekend, but we will see what happens. It'll be the first ever GateCon where us kids who have grown up can actually come together, find our tribe, and compare notes.
Yep.
Figure out what it was. Why us? But I mean, I think a lot of us know why. I think we've always known that there's something different. We've always been the black sheep, in the groups or a family, because we're not lemmings. I'm not going to sit here and say we're starseed children or anything like that. I'm sure some people would say that, but we are a generation and a segment of society that is here for something big. We chose to be here at this time. And, to be honest with you, I'm just like, hurry up, get on with it already. If the aliens are going to come down and land, fine. If this is going to be released, fine. Can we just do it? The anticipation is way beyond.
I did a show last week, last Friday, called the Disclosure Program, and it's exposing what's going on. But yeah, speaking of taking notes, I got if you don't mind, I'll read a few testimonies because I had last week or a week before I put an ad out. If anybody's been through the GATE program, you want to talk about it, send me your testimony. So I got a few here. Jody Watts, that's the wife of Josh Watts. She says, I don't actually remember all of it. Josh says he remembers him having to do puzzle tests and audio tests. And we just showed some of that stuff here. But he was never in GATE. It was a school called Federal Terrace, whatever. And that's a woman, Teresa Russell. Hi, I'm writing because I saw where you were looking for people who were in the GATE. So I grew up in Fort Myers, Florida. Attended Edison Park Elementary School in the early 1970s, and I was a gifted and talented program in my last 3 years of the school. And before being bused in the middle school across town, I remember some of the testing. They also took us on a lot of field trips that the other students. Yep. students and didn't go on. And some days I was called out of class to go to the gate, and we just read books and did our homework because nothing was going on. I remember the frequency hearing test where we wore headphones and signaled if we heard tones, and we did a chewy pink tablets. We had to, these pink tablets here to see if we brushed our teeth well enough. And sure may have been in those whatever. And I seems to remember the psychic cards, which is the Zener cards, especially with the ones with the wavy lines for some reason. I had several IQ tests also. I can remember looking at graphs and cogs and levers and etc., having to choose which one would I wanted to do. And the fuel trips, which I think she meant field trips here, that stuck out most of the time were trips to the nature reserves and such. And we went to the river locks to study how these raise and lower boats and changing the water levels. I went to the mud flats and cypress swamp where they caught a horseshoe crab and talked about ecosystem management. I also climbed the forestry tower in one trip and discussed firefighting. And they also took us to college campuses, probably Florida State University there, to talk about the civics and job opportunities. I was bused to middle school to the next year, so... But a vagrant had I think she said vagrant had attacked me and pulled me off my bicycle by knife point. So I guess somebody attacked her or whatever. So my father moved to North Carolina, and I had a very low IQ, a very high IQ, and wanted to play violin, but I couldn't move because we were moving and didn't. So let me skip ahead here. And the father died in 1978, and so I have many paranormal experiences, but I don't remember anything related to GATE program unless my memory was wiped. And feel free to contact me if you ask me anything else. And so that's one. You want to make a comment on that before you get to the next one?
Yeah, I mean, they would take us on field trips, or they'd take us to other schools because there may have only been 2 or 3 of you at your school, and they wanted to combine you with another one for an hour or two, and that where we went, who knows? Because if they could wipe our memory for an hour, who's to say they wipe our memory and they tell us you went to the museum and you got to see this, this, and this, and this, and loved it. We get back. Oh man, that dinosaur looks so cool, even though its tiny little hands were where the wings were for being a dragon. Whole nother topic. Sorry. But yeah, in the tests. Oh, just the fluoride in the hearing and all that was just step one. Okay, a lot of people don't realize what we did because a lot of us can't remember until we're triggered with something like assignments where we had to learn Russian, we had to learn code breaking, we learned about frequencies with marine life, we learned about out-of-body experiences. We were learning what the normal public school system was not teaching. And the code breaking was always my favorite because it was like you were solving puzzles and it was actually challenging. Unlike you go to school and they have a simple little squirrely line where you got to follow through. I mean, it's like kindergarten, and you're just like, this sucks. I want something fun. And the ones that learned the Russian the best, code breaking the best, that stuff was noted. And if they were in the Get Along, Go Along program, then they ended up in high-ranking places of authority, politicians, musicians, artists, whatever, and they became very, very successful. Whereas rebels, we try so hard and we just always, it's like the rug is always getting pulled out from underneath us at the last second. Just when we think it's about to break, we're about to get our first big check, first big break, whatever. And then something happens. And you just sit there and you rack your brain going, what caused this? What did this? It's just constant sabotage. And then it depresses us, and we have a really freaking hard life. But the other thing is just being around stupidity.
Yeah,
willful stupidity.
Oh man, especially during the COVID crap.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, so I in 2020, I was posting videos, all the truth.
Yep.
Of course, it was flagged as misinformation and
Yep.
I'm a horrible person. We're not going to pay you. You're not going to monetize your tax squat.
Oh, I lost this
And
channel from that, and they just reinstated this channel like a year ago. Somebody won a lawsuit, and they for 4 years, my channel is gone. This channel here.
And I lost credibility and everything. But just last or 2 weeks ago, I get emails saying this video's been re-uploaded. It's back now and it's okay. I'm like, you sons of bitches.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to go after YouTube too. So if anybody's out there, a lawyer that wants to do pro bono, let's do it.
Yeah.
Because I got the emails, and the videos. I mean, it's like, oh, everything's okay now.
Yeah.
Forgive us. Fuck, no, I'm not going to forgive you guys. You know?
And these were some of the tests too. Like you talk about a puzzle, or one of the testimonies. This was different puzzle programs. Like you put those shapes and puzzles and all this other stuff.
Yep.
And it was for like IQ program tests as well. And this was a Rorschach cards, the ink blocks. It's like, oh, what does that look like? A butterfly or a Mothman or whatever. And they want to know what you think. And of course, you mentioned the Zener cards. And a friend of mine, she didn't write the testimony, but she told me she got 80% of the Zener cards right, and all of a sudden they pulled her into another program out of the school. They brought her somewhere else. She had no clue where she was, and they were testing more on the stuff. So this is them literally targeting your ESP, to see if these kids have ESP. And again, the hearing stuff. So what are they doing targeting kids with the ESP? I mean, what's this got to do with anything? I mean, and then of course, we can
Psychic
get to
spies, super soldiers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why.
Yep.
Get them while they're young. Mm-hmm. You see all those great assassin movies? Those assassins, they don't start at 20. They start when they're kids.
Yeah. Yep.
Russia is famous for that, especially their ballerinas and all that. I mean, now there's a movie called Ballerina where, the spies and everything. So, get them while they're young because the brain is malleable, whatever the word is, until about 12. So that's why they want to get them young. Because after that, fairies aren't real, Santa Claus isn't real. It's just like they've got that. There's no whimsy anymore. There's no imagination that's been killed by society telling you, oh, that ain't real. And that's the biggest problem. That's why they don't really they rather work with children than adults because we've been so jaded that look, I know meditation and crystals and all that work. Okay, I totally believe it, but it's not my bag. You'll never catch me meditating or anything like that.
Yeah, I say like me. I'm follow Jesus Christ and follow the Bible, teach spiritual warfare, and I stay away from all that New Age stuff. Oh yeah,
but even Jesus meditated. So
well,
that's why I'm not
his
saying
meditation
it's
was
bad.
different from what the New Agers do because I was in the occult before too. It's a completely different thing, and their meditation is open the pineal gland to talk so-called these cosmic consciousness, cosmic beings, which are actually demons and aliens, and demons and fallen angels and all that stuff, discussing stuff. Yeah, John Pounder says he signed over 1,000 religious exemptions during the COVID stuff. Yeah, I remember that. I got one from you too. And
Speaking of fallen angels, you know how many there were, right? Mm-hmm. There were 200 fallen angels.
Well, those are 200 chief ones on descent on Mount Hermon. And,
yes, but they didn't land on Mount Hermon. They came together.
Yeah,
and if you look on the Earth, there is 200 craters on the Earth.
Yeah.
And in Kazakhstan, which a lot of people just associate with Borat, going, you like? It's actually a very, very sophisticated city. In the dead center, in the middle, they have this gigantic pyramid building. And up top, they have the 200 seats.
Yep.
For the And very few people know about that. That's something I really want to have some time dive into it because it's an establishment.
Yep.
And these are supposedly the 200 rulers of the world. So
Crazy.
Sorry, you mentioned fallen angels, and that's something.
Right. No problem, man. We do all the stuff on the show here. So this one's from Marissa Nez. She's Nez in the chat room there. So she says, I saw your post about the Facebook post about the test here, and they tested me like in the second grade. And from what point forward I graduated in high school, I was in a called the extended learning program. Even my college experience, I was honors class. Don't remember drinking anything, but I went to a lot of doctor appointments. And when I was a kid, and my mother was a nurse, so I didn't find any doctor appointments tested unusual. But I remember testing and what happened, and it was a second grade. And from that point on until high school, I was in the gifted talented program. Like I said, included participation what was so-called the extended learning program. So, and one more here, the last one here. Well, actually, got two more here. So, what's your thoughts on that one?
Read the. I'm actually because there's this delay. I'm trying to
Oh
read the
yeah,
screen, and it's behind. What was that last part again? Testing. It happened when I was second grade. Um, I'm sure there's probably places where they didn't do, drinks. I don't know
yeah,
because they had to have a cover. They had to do some legitimate stuff to get away with it,
yeah,
even though it wasn't a school program. It was a government program run through the schools. And that's when you'd have, because when you go in there, you didn't go in with a teacher. A teacher may have pulled you out of class,
yeah.
but then they sent you to a room, and then there was a person behind. Sometimes it was two people. Once in a while it was one, but they would do the hearing test, and you raise your left and right hand. Which ear you heard it in. And I just remember I really tried so hard to hear as faintly as I could because I wanted to be the best. I wanted to have the best hearing. And that's how they do it. So they know, okay, they can't hear past this frequency. So here's a subliminal tape that's beyond that.
Mm.
Because if you could hear beyond that frequency, then you would hear the subliminal messages in the tapes, and they couldn't have that. But yeah, it's a crazy thing, to realize so many years later when we've all seemed to have this great awakening of it.
Mm-hmm.
And we got TikTok to thank for that because it triggered so many. What's happening now is what happened in the 80s. I think it was the 80s when Whitley Strieber, who's also a gay kid, had his alien encounter, and he wrote his book Communion, which later became a movie. And the image of the gray was printed on the cover and on the movie poster. And that was like the first time that had ever been like, boom, here it is. And that triggered everybody. It turned a switch on for so many people. Like, that's what's happening to me at night. They're the ones that are taking me. I remember that's what they look like. And that also opened up the floodgates for people to go, all right, he did it. He said it. I can say, I'm not going to be, it wasn't as taboo after that. And that's where the whole ufology community really just started to snowball. But this, with the TikTok videos, the pink drink, the Zener cards, those are the triggers and reminders. And the fact that we all remember it, and we've all been through similar things. Like us gay kids never had a broken bone. We got the freckle on the left arm. We've been drowned or have drowned. We've had alien, encounters. We've been kidnapped, which all of those happened to me. I was kidnapped physically from a swimming pool from a guy. I almost got trafficked, but I got away when I was 3 years old. The same year is when I had an encounter. I never said aliens or anything. I just remember a bright flash.
That's what happened to me, man. Like I seen what I thought was a alien being, shot this bright light, bright blue light in my face, and I passed out.
Well, I was 3 years old. I've told the story multiple times, but I'll do it really quick. So 2-story house, Starino Way in Sacramento, California, 1976. I was 3 years old. I wake up in the middle of the night. I look out the window. It's daytime. Mm-hmm. My room is pitch black. The outside is daytime. And I see my grandmother with her 1960 something Caprice. It's just, she called it General. It's a big silver tank thing. And she's like, come on, it's time to go. I'm like, okay, Grandma. So I turn around. The room's still pitch dark. I open the door, go through the hallway to the staircase, which leads down to the front door. And as at the top of the steps, I don't know if you see the video here, my body on the top step fell forward and then stopped at like 45 degrees, right? And my parents had just put in a swimming pool, so they had taught me how to dog paddle. And I'm feeling like I'm floating in water without being wet. So I start dog paddling down the staircase. And when I get to the bottom, it's kind of foggy, and then a light source where I can't see where it's coming from. It's just kind of lit. And I'm on my feet. I open the door, and then that's where the big bright flash happens.
Well,
It's just big bright flash, and then it's gone, and it's nighttime, and it's really silent. And then all of a sudden, the crickets start coming to life, and night critters and whatnot. And I'm like, Grandma, Grandma, where are you, Grandma? And I didn't see her. So I turn around, I close the door, and I make it up to like the second step of the stairway. And my father comes around from the top with a rifle pointed at me, with my mother leaning over his shoulder. And then, of course, pulled the gun up, and I got a big lecture about sleepwalking and everything. So I was scared. I didn't want to say anything. Years later, when I'm 16 years old, my dad and I are on a flight, and my dad, he had top secret clearance. He flew Air Force Two and the last C-130 out of Vietnam, all this stuff. So he was very, very stringent on security. Never talked about. Now, of course, we didn't exist. These talk shows and ancient aliens, none of that existed.
Yeah.
Most you had anything that was conspiratorial was Leonard Nimoy's show In Search Of. That was as close to weirdness you could see. And then, so he would never talk about that stuff because of his clearance. And on this flight, he's reading an article about Aztec pyramids and how they join together with molten metal. He's bringing it up, and he's like, "This is really weird. They don't know how it's done." And I thought this might be my chance. So I bring up that night. I said, "Dad, remember the night you almost shot me when I was a kid?" He was, "Oh yeah." I was like, "I never got to tell you what happened." He's like, "Really?" So I tell him the story, and he's like, just bamboozled. And I'm thinking, "Oh great, my dad's gonna put me in a padded room. He's gonna submit me to some hospital." And he goes, "Son, there's still one thing that's bothered me ever since that night that happened." I'm like, "What?" He goes, "You were 3 years old." I'm like, "Well, yeah." He goes, "You were about 3 feet tall. I had 5 different padlocks and chains on that door. There's no way you could have opened it." And he's strange. Like, he goes around and checks everything every night before he goes to bed. That's just his thing, And they were all locked, like 4 or 5 of them. And so that gave me confirmation that it wasn't just me sleepwalking. It wasn't just a dream. Something happened. And my mother says after that night, I was just really freaking smart. Like, I was reading and all this stuff, which saved my life. After that happened, that's when I got kidnapped a few months later from a community pool. My grandmother was watching me, and she went inside her house, which was on the other side of the pool, community pool fence, to go to the restroom, I guess. And this guy came up, and I'm 3 years old, military brat, and we're told, always trust law enforcement, military, they're the good guys. This guy comes up and sits next to me by the pool and goes, "Hey, your dad told me I needed to come pick you up." And I'm like, "Oh, I said, "Oh, you know my dad?" He goes, "Yeah, I work with your dad." I said, "Oh, you're a pilot in the Air Force too?" He goes, "Yes, yes, I'm a pilot." So I get on this little bike with a kid's seat on the back, and he drives me around. So I get confused, and then we get to his place, and we walk in, and it's like a little, 1-story condo, and it's sparse, like no furniture really in the front entryway, just a bed in the bedroom. And then we walk in, and there's these 2 little girls in white outfits, blonde and a brunette, and they're just like broken. Now, to me, I'm 3 years old. I'm thinking these are his kids, because over in the corner, he points and goes, "Go play with some toys over there. I'll be with you in a minute." And he grabs the hand of one of the little girls and goes into the bedroom. Well, because I can all of a sudden read, this was the year 1976 when the Speak and Spell came out. Well, he had a Speak and Spell amongst all the toys and the dolls and everything. And I'm like, "Oh my God, Speak and Spell." So I go over there and I look at it. It's already on. And on the screen, I crap you not. I don't know if I can swear, so crap you not. It said, "Run home now." And I put it down, and I went to the front door, walked right past the brunette girl that wasn't taken into the room because she's just, like a statue, dude. Now older, I'm like, these kids were broken. I went to the front door. He hadn't locked it. I get out and I start wandering the neighborhood. And this is 1976, like I said. So when you disappear, the whole neighborhood came out to find you.
Yeah.
So there was all these search parties, and they found me. I'd already wandered a while, so I couldn't tell them where I came from because I was confused, because he was driving me around. And of course, my mother again yelling at me, "Don't you ever wander off again. You scared everybody." So I didn't tell her what happened until this was about maybe 5, 6 years ago. We were at my grandmother's birthday party, and my mom. I was working with Operation Underground Railroad. I was raising money for the kids that are, trafficked and stuff. We can try to save them. And my mom's telling my grandmother about this, and she said, "What made you want to start to do this?" And I said, "Well, Grandma, do you remember when in Sacramento, at the pool, I disappeared and all that?" She was, "Yeah." And I start telling the story. My mother had never heard that side. She never knew what happened. She just thought I just wandered off. And it just, I mean, oh shoot, sorry. I'm so angry. Beating stuff up here. Uh, yeah. Now my mother, after 40 something years, almost 50 years, she's starting to, she's getting it for the first time. And of course, she's guilt. She's like, "Oh my God, I didn't know." I said, "No, no parents knew. They're the government. They knew exactly how to manipulate the parents to allow them to do experiments on their children during school hours. That's the bottom line.
And
No
the parents
parent
will
should,
take the teacher's word, take the kid's imagination thing or whatever. They just want to
Yeah.
get a class, whatever. And the parents are like, "Oh, I'm not going to argue with the teacher. The teacher's right." You know what I mean?
the teacher knows better.
Yep,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Just like it's this false sense of hope that they give us that, oh, whatever the doctor says, that's
Yeah.
absolutely right. Oh,
And the
I'm
thing
sorry.
is,
He's
so-
not a human being either. He doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah, and the thing is too, like the teacher him or herself is not in that room with you taking these tests, so they go along with the system. Oh, it's a program for gifted students, so I'm not going to question. So it's the teacher who communicates with the parent or the guidance counselor, but it's not that none of them are in that room taking these tests. So they only do what they're told. Like they hand out like the doctors and all that. They just hand out the regurgitation from the CDC, FDA, and all that, but they themselves don't know anything about these things. And two more of these here, and real quick here. Katie Risho, a friend of mine, she says, when me and my dad, her dad's one of my best friends there, and my mom visited Tennessee a long time ago, we had to do a public school down there for a little while. I remember being brought into a classroom, and it was dark, and only light was coming from the hallway, which someone was who wasn't my teacher, and I was given those hideous brown headphones. And I still remember. I also used pulled out class in Pawtucket. They pulled out a class in Pawtucket, Rhode Island there, and I went to a Curvin McCabe to meet with the staff member at the school, and was not a teacher. It was a group, and a lot of stuff was fuzzy to me. But when I were in Tennessee, when I was in that room, they had listened to something, and all I remember is after that is a day where I did that. They did that to me, and in Tennessee. The nightmare about the two all-white alien-looking things were driving by in the car, and that watching me and observing me, and I didn't threaten anything, or what? Yeah, I didn't feel threatened or anything, but I was very creeped out, and I woke up, and I firmly believe it was part of the GATE program. I've also dreamt about Mall World, which is a big, big thing here. I forgot to mention too. Mall World, if you look that up, guys, there's a lot of people, you go in a state of dream of consciousness, you're in this big mall or something like that, and you meet people there, literally. And people get to know each other, and they contact them in real life afterwards. But I dreamt I was in Mall World, and it was a super vivid and futuristic thing. And and we got one more here too. But yeah, the Mall World. You hear about that too? The Mall World.
Check out my new background.
Oh yeah, the
There's
Mall
Mall-
World. Yep.
There's Mall World. Mall World, what some of us have come to theorize is because so many. Now, the Mall World, I haven't heard or spoken to anybody in my age bracket. It seems to be more of the kids from the mid 80s to 90s. Malls were a big thing.
Yeah.
So if you were now here's the theory, and it's kind of like a bunch of people's theories, my theory, all kind of conglomerated. The mall was designed by the Monroes to the CIA, whoever was running the show, as a metaphysical location where these kids would be attracted to go because it seems familiar, even though the names seem slightly different, kind of like a Mandela effect with the music stores and the movie theater and all that. And of course, you have the tall people that people would see. The theory is this is a hub in a metaphysical dimension where our dreams connect. Okay, which I could go into that too. It's something very cool. Where as we grow up, we have these dreams of going to these places, to the mall. It's actually them. There was a movie called Dreamscape. Do you remember Dreamscape?
Yeah, I
Okay.
vaguely remember it, but
Where you could go into someone else's dreams and interact. Okay. Freddy Krueger, everybody interacting, all having the same dream, but all to come to the mall. Now, because a lot of these kids are gone, they've moved away, they've grown up, they've got their own families, it may be hard to keep track of it unless you had a place when everybody would dream they would go to this location. And there, the gate people, the CIA, whoever, the remote viewers in there that work for the bad guys could debrief you. They could check on you. How are you doing? What's going on in your life? Like a counseling session, but it's in your head. Oh, this is more like Inception, actually, now that I think about it. They're going in and making you think things. So when you wake up, like, oh, okay, you wouldn't have seen it before. So I think my belief, possibly it could change, that the mall is a hub to debrief where they can interact with you, and it's never physical, so they can't get in trouble. It's in a metaphysical state. Now I was saying about dreaming. There is a doctor. Let me pull this up and get his doctor. Not Mesher. That's my doctor. He's in Canada. What's the word I'm looking for? Lecture. That's the word I'm looking for. God, I'm having such a hard time tonight. Lecture called "No More Secrets." And it's Persinger. Persinger. No, Dr. Persinger. Yeah, it's Dr. Persinger. Dr. Persinger. This is going to blow your mind. He created what's known as the God helmet, which was in National Geographic. It looked like a motorcycle helmet with a bunch of probes, right? They put things over your eyes and they put you in an isolation chamber, and they can make it to where you thought you were in heaven talking to angels. Wow. Or you could be talking to demons or dead loved ones and all this. Dr. Michael Persinger, renowned neuroscientist, and orthopedic surgeon. No, that's Freddie, that's his brother. But Dr. Michael Persinger, he worked on the God helmet, neuroscientist and professor known for his research with temporal lobes, cognitive neuroscience, and parapsychological phenomenon often associated with the God helmet experiment. All right. Now, if you look up this lecture, I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's a lecture. I don't want to hear. This guy won an award for best lecturer. Okay. He's brilliant. And what they learned, okay, now he doesn't say this in there. I kind of put two and two together myself. I've always wanted to contact him and talk to him about this if he's still alive. But the Earth is surrounded by what? The electromagnetosphere, correct? Okay.
Oh,
and in its name, it tells you exactly what it is. It's electromagnetic. It's invisible, but it protects us from the sun's, bad vibes, or not vibes, rays and everything, right? Well, during the day, it's getting pummeled. Just 24/7, just boom, 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 boom. It's getting pummeled. And it's damaged. When it's on the night side, that's when it starts to heal itself. Also, people are supposed to be sleeping. So while the electromagnetosphere is healing, we as a species that are sleeping are connecting to it. All right. Now, electromagnetic. What else is electromagnetic? Tape reels, audio, video, data. Okay. It's electromagnetic. What they are discovering is that the electromagnetosphere around the Earth is a metaphysical hard drive that can store the complete brain capacity of every living creature that has, does, or will live on this planet. So when we die, we have our life flash before us, right? That's our whole memory zip filing. It's all coming together really fast. Zip file. And then you go up through the tube of light and you end up somewhere that people say is heaven. What if the electromagnetosphere is heaven, but on a spiritual level? And also, when people are sleeping on the nights, they found that that's when people have joined dreams, because they're all connecting to the electromagnetosphere, just like the Akashic records or heaven, however you want to describe it.
Well, I found the picture of the God helmet here. And
you got it? Okay.
Developed by a neuroscientist, Michael Persinger, and based involving
Persinger, yeah.
Persinger, yep. Modified helmet equipped with electromagnetic designed to apply weak magnetic fields to the brain temporal lobes. Reminds me too of Back to the Future when the body went back in time and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna read your thoughts," and he had this weird helmet on him.
When he was wearing that,
Yeah.
exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then same in Ghostbusters too.
Yeah.
It all stemmed from Persinger.
Yep.
And so, because you didn't need a hallucinogenic drug to have these hallucinations, it was all done with frequencies and the brain. Like Tesla said, once you understand frequencies, you'll understand everything.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. And one more testimony here we got from Sister Mary Lutz. She's in the chat room, I think. But yes, I remember doing these tests, and I don't remember much about it. I don't think I could drink that pink stuff. I vomited all over the place because certain textures really would mess with me when I was a child. Also, my cousin and I were very close growing up, and we could literally read each other's minds and finish each other's sentences. My sisters didn't have the ability at first, but my cousin and I taught her how. And after growing up, we found out that we were getting too close. They separated us for like 10 years, and our ability was gone. So, yeah, I mean, that, all these things here they're mentioning, it's just like, side effects, if you will, whatever, developed because when I went through this stuff too, the things I had started increasing, you know what I mean? And things started coming to me, and it's like, wow, what the heck does this come from? You know what I mean? And
Can I explain that to you?
Huh?
Can I explain why you guys were able to connect?
Yeah.
All right. So, what a lot of people don't realize is your brain is an organic wireless computer that connects to the cosmic internet. All right. And because it's an organic computer, it has its own fingerprint or IP address, right? That is why a mother could be doing her dishes in Oregon and her child is over in New York, and all of a sudden she just knows something's wrong. And she gets on the phone and she says, "Are you okay? I had a bad vibe or a bad feeling." And they're like, "Oh yeah, I just cut my hand." How did they know? Because the mother and the child have, is it the same MAC address or IP address? Oops, phone's ringing. So they have that connection. Is it still ringing? Turn down. Twins have identical brain IP addresses. So that's how they communicate. And that is why you have, people like best friends, they connect because they just happen to be close to the same, IP address in their brain. Does that make sense? Am I making sense?
Yeah. And because I
talk myself out of what I'm saying.
Like if I'm with somebody a long time, I feel like how they feel and all that stuff. And I think it's more of a spiritual thing too, especially with your spouse, whatever. But my friend's mother was like that. Every time we got in trouble, she knew. She knew somehow, some way. She knew it was something wrong and all that. And so Brother Bill in the chat room, thank you for the link here. You put this link about Linda Howe, the Ashkirk Records, I think it's called, and
Akashic Records.
Akashic. Okay, thank you. And it's a dimension of consciousness that contains a viable record of every soul in its journey. So it's like people study this stuff and all that. So I have a different spiritual understanding. Like I preach a different, which is descriptions and all that, and different kind of understanding and all that. But the thing is, you guys realize some of these New Ages and all these people, they have some truth to it, absolutely. But the thing is, again, the New Age garbage will, intercede with that and all that. So that's where you need to shut it down spiritually. But it's just crazy, man. And the thing is, God connected us all. You know what I mean? Like That's why we're with the plants and the earth and the animals and everything. We're all, made in this creation. You know what I mean? So, and we humans were created in God's image and His likeness and all that. In this show, we don't have things that Adam and Eve have before the fall and all that stuff, but we still have some of it. You know what I mean? And because it's amazing that we did this explanation on a couple of shows ago. We talked about Adam and Eve before the fall and everything. The stuff they had and all that, but we still have some of it, and that's why you could easily say, like Doc said, I mean, you could be, and you're for your mother, you could be in another state, and you feel that something wrong. You know what I mean? And I get those things too as a father, and whatever else, or a friend, whatever the case. So you get close to somebody, you feel that. You know what I mean? And your best friend and all that, you can. And I don't know how many times I did that at work, man. I meet a person, talk to them, and they're saying, "Oh yeah, I used to live on I can't remember the street," and I'm like, "McNiff Street," and they look at me like, what? How the heck did you know that? You know what I mean? And it just pops in your head. You can't explain it. And like a lot of times, like I'll walk by a thing, like guess how many M&Ms or whatever, right? Walk by it and the number just slams me in the face. Identical, right on the mark. Boom. You know what I mean? And you're able to understand things. Like you could hear people. Like when I used to go meet girls, right? When I was young and single, most of the time I knew right from the get-go, from hello, if it's going to go anywhere or not. Right from that. And and sometimes you try to fight against it. I'm just exaggerating. But, of course, it was always right. You know what I mean? So you got that spiritual intuition, and there's a connection with that. You know what I mean? And especially here's the thing where it activates too, is because when we grow up, right, why do they think they put fluoride in the water? They calcify you, you know what I mean, and all that. So you get dumbed down spiritually. They don't want you to be a spiritual conscious person, you know what I mean? And so when you start going through these gateway programs and all that, and it starts unlocking stuff, you know what I mean? It really does. And then, unfortunately, it's in a bad way, you know what I mean? But when you get involved like with the Holy Spirit now you can counter that, you know what I mean? Then the Holy Spirit will wake you up to real things going on, and then actually you see the whole truth of it, you know what I mean? And it's just it's an amazing thing, and that's what we preach about here. Spiritual Warfare Friday, but I mean, but yeah, it's the real spiritual awakening, guys, is not from this frequencies and all that. The real spiritual awakening comes from the Holy Spirit. He, could give you the wisdom and knowledge, because this other stuff here, guys, you could do this stuff. I've done it when I was in the occult, practicing all this stuff, and it is bad stuff, guys. I'm telling you right now, don't ingest into it. And if you got the stuff going on, you've been part of the project, and the only way you can stop the stuff is calling the name of Jesus Christ, pleading the blood of Christ upon you, and denouncing this stuff. These are spirits, guys. We talk about this all the time, the elemental spirits, with the stoichions and all that. These things cause these things too. They work with the governments and all that. We discussed it last week with the disclosure program. These so-called aliens and Anunnaki, they're fallen angels. There's no, from other planets and all that. And they're using it. The thing is, these angels and all that, they don't have powers. Satan doesn't have powers to raise people from the dead and all that. They use vast intelligence and knowledge. They use technology. The technology comes from them. These phones here, you think this came from somebody's imagination? No. This is their old technology to them. They give this to us, you know what I mean, in exchange for things in the government that would give them people to experiment on and everything else. There's so much stuff involved, but what they're doing in the schools here is they're literally taking children, and for whatever reason, they're unlocking things in them or trying to find certain children. Now, I don't know if you know about this, Doc. I think it was 1975 or whatever it was, 65, I believe it was. They started taking babies born. Everybody's like, oh, look at the cute baby. And sometime during the hospital stay with the mother and all that, somebody would come out, doctor, whatever, take a lancet, prick the heel of the child.
That's the first step.
Dr. Cards, and nobody knows where the DNA information goes. And they're looking for certain bloodlines. You know what I mean? They're looking for certain children, and sometimes these certain children go missing in the hospital or somewhere else, you know what I mean? And it's crazy stuff. And then you get to these programs and all that, and if they find that kid with a psychic ability, something's going to happen. You know what I mean? When I was getting to these programs, I remember this, man, and go through these programs, and I excelled to the next step. And for some reason, I was good with numbers and everything else and all of that. And all of a sudden, my ESP stuff started increasing. I literally developed telekinesis. I couldn't control it, but I developed it. Premonitions and all this other stuff. And I think it was from generational curses too, because my family ancestors were witches, from Salem and all that stuff, and being an American Indian. So all this stuff combined, and what I perceived to be an alien at the time was actually probably a fallen angel, whatever. And I remember it shot something in my face, and I woke up, all of a sudden had bad sleep paralysis. I mean, high levels, my bed shaking, something coming over, just ripping me right off the bed, all kinds of crazy stuff, man. And everything just massively enhanced. And you know what put a stop to it, though? I went through 30-something years of my life with that garbage. And then what it stopped to it, when I confronted these beings, I called out in the name of Jesus Christ, if you're not a spirit of the Lord, leave. Boom, stopped instantly. And I tried all these other little things, these scientific things, these new age things, these occultic things, and everything else. And the only thing that stopped it dead in its tracks is calling upon the blood of Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? It's just always an amazing feeling. And the Holy Spirit, man, it's so great.
I'm glad you brought that up because one of the participants that we're trying to get with the GATE convention, GATECon 26, is that Bride Ministries. Okay, don't let the name fool you, but Bride Ministries with Reverend Dan Duvall. Now, Dan is a minister, but he was in the SSP, the Secret Space Program. So he's been on a bunch of shows and everything. And his ministry is to help us. I'll never say victim. I'll just say us kids, you know, that went through all this. And they help deprogram them so that they can live a healthier life.
Yeah.
So that's going to be one of the positive benefits of coming to GATECon is learning about that. It's not something you have to do. It's presented.
Yeah.
And if you feel it's the path for you, then you know, give them that try. And we're working on also Dr. Destin Barnaby, who wrote MK Ultra for Kids, which was about the GATE program. And Mike Barra from Ancient Aliens, and we're trying to get AJ from the Y Files. These aren't locked down. So this is who we're working to get. Stuart Swirlo, who co-wrote the Montauk Project. Emily Harrison, who is a Hollywood actress for 20 years, and now she only does Akashic Records, like you were just mentioning earlier. That's why I wanted to bring her up. She would probably be an amazing guest for your show if that's something that you know, a subject matter that you wanted to follow. I could connect you with her. She's amazing and could probably answer any questions you have about the Akashic Records. And then we're trying to get Cryptic Candy, who was, do you know Cryptic Candy?
That name rings a bell.
Yeah, he's on board, as well as I'm trying to get M-Spiracy and Christy Bruno. Christy Bruno is the Italian lady with the beautiful hair, and she is like a quadruple PhD in anything she researched. Her stuff is so thorough, and I think it would be an amazing lineup of people and an opportunity for everybody to understand this, because we're like little children again, trying to figure out why. Some of us have kind of figured it out, but most are still fresh and new to it. Here's something else. If you're like, well, I don't remember the pink drink. I don't think I was a part of the program. Let me show you something that you probably did while you were in school, not knowing that it was a test to see what your skills were. Who remembers Heads Up, 7 Up? You guys remember that game? You, Dan, did you ever play that when you were a kid? Everybody would put their heads down, cover their eyes, and they'd stick their thumb up. One child would go around the room and would touch one of the thumbs. But none of the kids would know which kid it was. And whoever guessed it right. So that was like one of the earliest ways that they implemented it into like first grade, second grade, making it into a game. It was a psychic test to see if you could figure out who touched you.
Wow. That's amazing. And I'm sure there's probably other programs, little things like that we never even heard of either. You know what I mean? And I'm sure they have dozens of different ways to do it. And you're right. A lot of people said they didn't take the drink. Some said they did. Some say it was a pill. And that patch you're talking about, the scopolamine there, they have that in the patch as well. So
Yes.
There's all kinds of things here. And also there's another one here. Brother David Carrico brought up, he said this stuff here, which is, again, his wife, Donna, who was given this phenidibro, I can't pronounce it right, phenobarbital oral. So basically,
do you have it on the screen?
Yeah.
Hold on. You know that got
I
that 30
stink at
second delay.
pronouncing this medical. It's like alien.
No. If I see it, I'll try to pronounce it for you. Phenobarbital.
Phenobarbital. Thank you. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
And that kind of looks like it too. So yeah, that could be it. Does
And-
it show anything about amnesia though?
Yep, and I researched
It does?
this. It says yes, because I put, can it cause short-term memory or altered state of conscious? And yes, for neither ball, I'll call it PB, right?
Okay.
Can cause both memory impairment and altered state of consciousness. So,
Wow. And does it say what it tastes like? Does it taste like bubble gum? Because then that could be it. This is my first time to hear of this. Let's see. I'm kind of reading what you got up here. Ask it if it tastes like bubble gum. Are you using
well,
Chat
bubble gum
GPT?
is a flavoring option for compound versions of the drug. Standard commercial.
Oh, so that must be it.
Yep.
Phenobarbital.
Yep.
Barbital.
And if you look at the slide here, right, I got some pictures of it, and it's kind of pink. Depends on the flavor, probably, but I mean, it's kind of pink there.
Orange, cherry, and grape. Those are the
Yeah.
other flavors that other kids have said. Yes. Orange. Okay. So scopolamine, maybe not. I mean, yeah, if this is the one that tastes like different flavors than this, then I was mistaken. I mean, they still could have given us scopolamine.
And there's a cup right there of it right there. So that's probably what we drink.
That's got to be it because those are the three flavors.
And they call it elixir too.
Oh man, phenobarbital. I'm going to do some research on that myself.
Yeah, just it was last night I learned about this because I was talking to David Carrico, which is a friend of John Pounders from FOJC Radio. So he said his wife, Donna, she was given the stuff when she was a kid and it made her lose her memory and everything. She don't remember nothing. And it kind of matches exactly. And here's the thing, like I said earlier, right? This is the cover story. So now, you're a school kid, right? And you're like, oh yeah, the nurse or whoever gave me this stuff to drink. So the parents, well, what are you giving my kids to drink? And no, it was this stuff here. It was just a pink fluoride rinse. And he didn't drink, he just rinsed it, or she. So if the parent, 99.9% of the time, going to believe in the school and not question it from there. You know what I mean? But the kids that took the GATE program took this stuff, the phenobarbital.
This makes more sense. Scopolamine still is what I said it was. But this being flavors, the scopolamine never specifically said bubblegum, but this, oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I learned something new. Thank you very much, Dan. I will do more research on this because this is the point why I wanted to do GateCon so people could come together and compare notes and finally, find the common denominator and figure this stuff out, and at the same time find our tribe because there's nothing better than when you find, us type people and I mean, you can be so creative. You can do all kinds of great stuff when you're with the right kind of people.
Oh yeah,
and
if we all come together, put our notes together,
breed.
we could probably decode the whole thing. You know what I mean? If you want to put it that way. And really expose us. But yeah, well,
the thing is what a lot of people want to know is who were the people that did it?
Yeah.
Who were the government agents that came into the schools, handed the checks to the teachers and the principal, administered the tests, but they're most likely, if they were like when I was doing it in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, they're probably gone, most likely by now, or you just won't hear from them. And that's why I'm really excited about what is she, not Homeland Security, the woman that's going after the UFOs. I think her name starts with an L, Luna or something like that. She's the one that's like, we're going to get these released UFO files and everything. Her next thing that she's now tackling is MK Ultra. She's going to go after everybody that was involved in MK Ultra.
That's funny you said that because I got that pulled up now.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited. She's kicking ass, taking names, so I'm excited. And
that actually made the news too. I got the slides over here. There was actually news clippings years ago when this got exposed, and CIA got a lot of heat from it, but somehow it just went away. And so
that's how it goes.
MK Ultra was a program where they would take people, do these kind of tests on them and everything, and what they'll do is they'll dope them up on LSD, which the LSD do? It alters your state of conscious, right? And as you look at the frequencies, right, we talked about the hemisphere, all these liquids and whatnot, what do they all do? They alter your state of conscious, right? And remember, they always encourage people to take hallucinogens and mushrooms and all that, because what does it do? It alters your state of conscious. So Project Stargate, the same thing. They recruited a bunch of people, anybody that claimed to have remote viewing, and they would do all kinds of tests like LSD2, Project Stargate, and MK Ultra. MK Ultra was more of mind control. Learn how to mind control. Project Stargate was the hire people to try to do remote viewing to see out of the enemy bases. Here's what they do. This is a strategic program, what they do. So this is called plausible deniability. So they'll come out, Project Stargate, right? And when the people start getting wind of it, shut the project down right away, start another one. So by the time you even figure that out, oh, no, yeah, we did that, but we shut it down. But there's another project going on. And when you get even clue about that, they already started another one. They just continue the same stuff to a new project.
They just change the name.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
And they can use plausible deniability the whole time.
Right. And, Major Ed Daniels was one of the originals in the program.
Mm-hmm.
I got to spend like 24 hours with him a few years back, 2014. And he's the guy who told me I needed to move where I'm at, because this would be where I'd be most successful, because he was remote viewing people's sanctuaries where they would be most happy in life, especially when the crap hits the fan, where they're going to be most secure. And he sent me this map of my area with a 2-mile radius circle on it. And he goes, Arizona. And I'm like, I don't want to move to the desert. That sucks. Everything's brown. And he goes, look it up. And I looked it up, pine trees. I mean, we have these things called seasons. We even got snow. It's beautiful. Yeah. And I'll tell you, I have done more in the past 12 years here on this mountain than I could have done all the years I was at Universal Studios, Disney MGM, and Orlando, and Texas, Six Flags, and all these other, studios and stuff that I worked at. Because there, I'm a tiny little minnow in an ocean of minnows that all can do the same thing, trying to get their nut, right? Whereas here, I come to this small mountain town, I'm a beluga whale in a puddle in a parking lot. And I've done so much fun stuff up here. It's a lot of great things, and I still got more coming. We're trying to build a movie studio up here, and because we're starting to produce films. And it was because of remote viewing. And, that was the time when I told you about the Russians and everything, and they're like, we got to do something about this. So you know what our government did? They're like, well, we don't know where to start with this. Until they saw this guy named Ingo Swann bending spoons on Johnny Carson. Like, there's a psychic guy. We're gonna get him. He's notable. And they got him to create this SOP, standard operating procedure. So even soldiers, anybody could do it, because we all have the ability in our brain. It's just tuning in or turning on those abilities. And so he created this thing, because he was doing all these tests, and he was like, do something harder. Let me, I got something harder. And they said, can you turn this into like a program so we can teach this? And he did. And that became remote viewing. And it's an amazing technology. I'll tell you, over the years, it's kept me out of trouble. So I'm like, if I try to do this and get away with it, there's going to be a remote viewer at a police station that's going to figure this out. So I've kept my nose clean for a long time because of it. Because it's like, someone's always watching. Of course, us gay kids, we always feel we're being watched, which in some cases we are, depending on the kid. So
I probably got my own satellite. But yeah, speaking of everything you're talking about, right? CIA, this is CIA's website, .gov, right there. It talks about Stargate, right? All these documents, physics and interoperability, and psychokinesis, quantum physics, parapsychology, all this stuff here. Also remote viewing of natural targets, SRI, Russell targets, and Harold Pudov, and all this stuff here. Multi-contractor. So all these documents right on the CIA's website. Yeah, it's crazy stuff, man.
It's crazy that people still refuse to believe in things.
Oh yeah.
That it's like, dude, here's all the documented and scientific proof this exists.
That's
and it was
CIA's
classified.
Website. Yep.
It wouldn't be classified if it wasn't legit.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, and I think this is all, like I said, all a part of the big Great Awakening, where people are waking up. And of course, none of us are getting the credit for telling people this shit years ago.
Yep.
And now they're like, I feel like a quadruple professor at a university, and I got kindergarten kids going, look, professor, look what I learned. It's like, dude, I've been telling you this for years.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, that ticks me off.
I think that's why I stopped my show, because I'm just like, I don't want to be another cog in the machine. Everybody's got a damn web channel and a
Yeah.
webcam, and and I was noticing people were regurgitating. All these shows were regurgitating what I have said, what others have said, like it was brand new information. And I'm like,
You know
yeah,
what ticks me off
I
too?
know the truth about UFOs. I
People.
knew about the Tic Tac being
Yeah.
Lockheed way before it was announced.
You know what
Yeah.
ticks me off too? People we know, right? Say they know you're into the conspiracies, whatever, right? So they'll come up to you, Dan, did you hear about they're spraying the skies? I was like, dude, I've been telling you for 20 years now. Oh, you have?
It's
Like,
a
you know what I
single
mean?
response.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, really, dude. I've been telling you. Although some people watch the show, right, and then we talk about a certain subject, and later on they're like, "Oh, Dan, did you know about this is going on?" Yeah, I'm the one that told you that. So, and then you got these people out there too, all over the TV. It's like these big celebrities, whatever. Joe Rogan, all these people, right? And they're famous, so they reach out to people. It's like, "Oh, you hear what Joe Rogan said?" Yeah, I told you that 20 years ago, dude. You know what I mean? Like,
I have to say something. I think I made a mistake. I said Ingo Swann, and someone else said Yuri Geller was the one on Carson. I may have confused the names, and if I did, I apologize. But both those guys were big remote viewers, a part of the beginning of it. So, I hate giving the wrong info out, and I just noticed this in the chat, and I'm like, oh, I should say something really quick because I may have screwed
that's
up.
Scott Shugs. I think.
Yeah. So anyway, thanks Scott's Hugs for saying Yuri Geller, who's still alive, by the way, and doing a lot. God, I think it was Yuri Geller. Where did Ingo Swann come into this? So Scott Hugs, thank you for correcting me on that. I like to keep things straight when I can. So yes, it was Yuri Geller that was on Johnny Carson. Yeah, Ingo Swann. What did he do? There's a book on him. Anyway, old man, just rambling about stuff. Moving on.
He was American, so-called American psychic, saying here, artist, author who claims clairvoyants were investigated as part of his CIA. Here we go, CIA project Stargate, right there. You know what I mean? Wow, remote viewing. Well, what a coincidence that is, huh? These people all over the TV and they connect to the Stargate. And here's the other thing too, right? You have the GATE program, Stargate, GATE process, whatever the other programs say.
Clairvoyance.
Yeah. Why are they all the gate now? You know what I mean? Is this gate, you know what I mean? The conscious gate,
Yeah.
what they're trying to do, whatever the case. But yeah, CIA. CIA's got
Yeah.
their fingerprints all over this stuff.
They love the word gate, don't they?
Yep.
I mean, even the Iraq War and Desert Storm, all that was all about getting Saddam Hussein Stargate.
Yep.
That was the weapon of mass
Yep.
destruction. It wasn't.
Oh yeah, it was Nephilim
You know,
Stargates
it's like
and
it's how many end of the worlds we've lived through. It's like that's what I mean. We're always waiting on the next shoe to drop. It's like what's going to happen next because something's coming around the corner. And you look back and you just realize how much we've been lied to. And that's why I search for truth because it's just like I want to know what's really going on. Like the 1,000 years that was added to our history. Technically we're supposed to be in. I think right now we're supposed to be 1,026, but they added 1,000 years for this pope who wanted to be the millennial pope, and so they did that, and then they said that 1,000 years was the Dark Ages, right? And before that, they had all this great technology with Tartaria, which a lot of people are just now discovering, which was a civilization that was erased from history. All the buildings and stuff were World War I and World War II were about the Tartarian leaders. Okay. One of them was like, they had everything. They had wireless electricity. Nobody had to worry about jobs. Everything was great. They had blimps and flying machines and technology. But during that 1,000 years, which some say is the actual 1,000 years that Jesus came back and everything
oh,
was
those
perfect.
are the preterist people. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that leads to the devil's little season, which some say is the 1,000 years we're living in right now. That's why we see so much evil, is because the devil was released for a
Yeah,
thousand
these
years to
that
reign.
that garbage that right there. We're not denying there was a Tartarian era, but the Jesuits started that garbage to disrupt the faith. So they want to teach us like 1,000 years. So basically, they said Jesus returned in 70 A.D. Right? So 70 A.D. to 1070 AD would be the 1,000 years, right? So 1070 AD to 2026 here, that's not a short season. So and where we are in the timelines, if you look at Matthew 24, there's still the prophecies have to have been, which is we're like 3/4 of the way already before Jesus returns. You know what I mean? And so,
Yeah.
and so we're almost there. But the thing is, it was the Jesuits that started that nonsense, because what they wanted to do is they wanted to disrupt the Christianity, and on top of it, try to bury the whole Tartarian era. So they figured if they could converge the two together, it would how you say, defame both of them. So defame Bible prophecy and defame the whole Tartarian thing to make it just a conspiracy. So when you merge them together to say Jesus returned and all that, it makes it sound even more like a crackpot thing, So yeah, the Tartarian era was real, and you go to state
And that's
fairs.
what World War II or World
Yep.
War One and Two were about. Where it wasn't political stuff. It was about destroying the evidence of Tartaria
Yeah,
by
the
destroying
mud
these
floods and everything.
cities. Exactly. And a lot of people are like, really? Mud flood, huh? Yeah. A lot of these buildings are dug down 2, 3 stories.
Yep.
And then you see the front entrance of the building, you know? And that was, they say, was done with frequencies that not solidified, liquefied the ground, and all the buildings sank into the ground. Kind of like an earthquake. When an earthquake happens, it can liquefy the ground, and buildings will sink. So they're thinking that happened worldwide.
Well, look at the pyramids. They go deeper. It's just probably the
Oh,
capstone what we see.
yeah.
They found the pyramids go like hundreds of feet more than under the ground than what you see on the
Well,
ground
the
level.
pyramids they go miles down.
Yeah.
With those new posts or stairways or whatever they are
Yep.
that go all the way down and then to another thing. And my theory when that first came out that day, actually was with Brad Olson, World Explorer, doing a show, and we were talking about how what if the pyramid with those rods going into the sand and everything is one gigantic Baghdad battery.
Yep.
It's same concept. But some others, say the pyramids are just like balancing weights for the earth so it doesn't wobble out of whack. There's so much going on. America was the original Egypt, and Mississippi River was the Nile, and all this. And
Yeah, we got
you got the areas in the Grand Canyon that are blocked off, and they look like, melted cities and pyramids. Then you have these places in Turkey that, they look like literally melted buildings that are melted into stone. And then you got the trees that are plateaus all over the world, like Devil's Tower. James Cameron was giving us a hint of that with the trees in Avatar, that they held all this energy, or not energy, but memory and whatnot. People lived in these things. And then, of course, we had the giants and the Nephilim, and they were causing all their havoc. So God told his angels, slice down those trees because I'm about to flood the earth. I don't want them climbing up a tree and being saved. And, you hear all these theories and stories, and sometimes it just makes sense, too much sense. I drive around Arizona, I see all these flat plateaus. Like we have the petrified forest up here in Arizona, right? Well, what you see when you go there are these look like trees that have been perfectly sliced and cut, and they're petrified. But people don't realize that those aren't the trees. Those are just the little tiny branches that broke off the big tree. Because if you look at where the plateaus are, it's like dead ground in a circumference all the way around where, it would have been shadowed. You wouldn't have been able to grow stuff. But yeah, seeing all this stuff and learning all this, it's just, man, sometimes it can be too much. But at the same time, I get excited about it because it's like, I'm figuring it out with everybody else. We're learning that we've just been fed a lot of crap. Thanks to Ghislaine Maxwell's father, who owned all the school books that we would read in school. He told us what to believe and what to know, and what to regurgitate. But anyway, I'm babbling on.
Sorry. No problem, man. And Yeah, and yet I want to bring up this too. We get the word gate. Talk about it more. CIA's analysis and assessments of gateway process. And yes, the fact check guys, these are all on the CIA's website. So there's no conspiracies. Yeah, Gateway Intermittent Workbook and Gateway Project. So this was exploring the same thing. We using ESP, all kinds of things like that. And it's just amazing. It's also hooked up to from Stargate. Then you got Operation Project Sunstreak, same thing. You know what I mean? Project Sunstreak deals with the psychokinetics of the collection of intelligence information. So psychokinetics is defined as shown here in the broadly subvert in 2 classes. So yeah, psychokinesis, which is the ability, the actions to perform mental powers, and also ESP, telepathy, remote viewing, perceptions we cannot explain by unknown sensory means. So, and also telekinesis too. Telekinesis is like you can make something move with your mind. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so that government was like, they got projects, millions of dollars invested in stuff in the schools and everything. So there's something going on. You know what I mean? And if anybody just say at this point, oh, it's a conspiracy theory, you're a moron. I would have to say it straight out because it is on record. You know what I mean?
Do you remember Bush Sr. when he went to Japan? Do you remember that dinner that he was at and he collapsed?
No.
If you look up the first Bush, collapsed a Japanese dinner. He's in Japan and he just literally just falls right over, right? A lot of people said he was dead. Later, it came out that even though the remote viewing team, they all had good intentions, some people took advantage of it and used it for darker means, which is one of the reasons why Major Ed Dames kind of outed the program on Coast to Coast AM with Art Bell, because they were using it for nefarious purposes. And that one incident was with Bush at the table, and he starts vomiting and he falls to the floor, and people think he's died. And that was because a remote viewer created like an energy ball, and they were trying to kill him.
Wow.
But they didn't succeed, of course. So that's when all that was going on. That's when it started leaking about the remote viewing program. Wow. And Major Ed Dames never gave specific information except for stuff that he did outside of it, of the military program. And what he did was really, really smart. Oh my God, it was so smart. He came out, he talked about the program on Art Bell, and then he started doing seminars where he could teach you to remote view. So you'd go to these seminars, he'd teach you, and then they would do not a test. He'd give you like a sample coordinates, right? Those sample coordinates were the same sample coordinates that they used in top secret stuff. So you as the remote viewer would see the answers to whatever that is, and he didn't say anything, so he doesn't get in trouble. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Which I thought was brilliant.
Oh.
So people were learning all this top secret stuff just because he thought of it. He wrote it down as 2 4-digit numbers and then gave it to the class of 300 people in a ballroom. And things were revealed that way. I thought it was brilliant.
And my moderator, Joanne, she brought up a good point. So prophetic, not pathetic, but prophetic. Matthew 7:13-14. Enter in the gate. I'm sorry, I butchered that. Enter ye in the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leads to destruction, and many there will go thereat. Because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth to life, and only few will find it. So that's got to be some spiritual, because everything in this programs is all, when you get to it's beyond the science, it's beyond politics, whatever. It's spiritual. That's the center of the web. Is always a spiritual agenda behind it all. And yeah, that's I got to really look into that, because that could be something big. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like
my friend Dean Devlin, he was on top of it when he wrote Stargate.
Oh.
And it's funny, we were doing an interview and like, what inspired you to write the story? He goes, well, after we beat the bad guys and all this stuff and the battles we had, I thought this would be a great movie. I should write this.
Wow.
But yeah, gates, man. What do you got? Watergate? Everything's gate.
Yeah.
So, and you got all these gateways everywhere, all the way to Aboriginal, tribal. Everything's a gate.
Yep.
There's got to be something more to this word, meaning to this word, than I think that we're privy to. Because the fact that it's been used throughout history, it's never changed. It's, in the Bible, in religion, spirituality, metaphysics, all this stuff. In science with CERN, opening up portals and gates. Yeah, there's more to it, I think.
Yeah.
I feel like there's more to
Oh yeah.
where that word originated from. And Christy Bruno is the woman that I would probably want to ask for that. She would get down to the nitty gritty, even before the Anunnaki or whatever, how the word gate came from. But yeah, when now that I'm thinking about it, you brought that up. My God, it's everywhere.
Yeah, it is. And the other thing,
Maybe it means transformation.
yeah,
I don't know. Look it up.
barrier or entrance. I'm like looking on Google AI here. The word gate primarily originates from the Old English word "gate," which is referred to an opening, passage, or hinged barrier, a barrier entrance, a way, or a street. Yeah, there's probably something more to that too. But here too, you talk about them using psychotropics of any sort, the drinks, whatever it is, right? But and big pharma, right? Pharma, right? The word pharma means pharmakia, and it's the word from the Greek word there, and it's also in the Bible it talks about pharmakia, which is sorcery. It's witchcraft. So basically, they take there's nothing wrong with using natural herbs for food and everything else to heal yourself. But what they do is in the witchcraft, they'll use these things to do damage to you, to spiritually do damage to you and physically, spells and everything else. They take it and use it the opposite way God intended it. So big pharma, that's why the medication is a little with junk and you have all these side effects. Now versus S to J's that we talked about earlier, plug for our sponsor there, it's all natural stuff. That's why it's not FDA approved, because it works. There's no side effects. And it increases
And they
the
can't
immune
patent natural ingredients
Yeah,
either.
exactly. So this
That's
stuff
why they have
here,
to do chemicals.
Yep, they put it into a witch's brew of drugs, and the Bible calls it pharmakia. And that's why. Why do you think they use the serpent, the staff serpent? Because the staff of Jupiter, whatever. Yeah, because it's sorcery, it's witchcraft.
Yeah, it is. It all comes down to good and evil.
Yeah.
It all comes down to it. And what was it? There was another. Christina Bruno was also talking about just yesterday or the day before. She did a video on the Vatican and how the name Vatican came about. It's a goddess of the underworld,
Oh, that
and
place is
her
evil.
statue is actually in the Vatican
Yep.
at the entrance, where she brought and the whole Vatican is literally built on top of a cemetery, the Acropolis, not the Acropolis, the catacombs.
Yep.
And so, it's just.
And check
I
this
got
out.
Catholic friends, so I don't like to say too much because, I don't have many friends.
Well, I got Catholic friends and family, but I came out of Babylon, I call it, and because it's now I want you to check this out. We did tons of shows on this, right? So this is the Vatican, St. Peter's Basilica, right? So check that out for a minute, right? There is not one thing in that place that's Christian at all. Not one thing is biblical. These old pagan gods and goddesses, and that little thing in the middle is called it's an obelisk. They dug it up from the sands of On of Egypt. It represents literally Nimrod, which is Osiris, his golden penis for resurrection. And they put this in there and they put a little cross on top to disguise it. But check this out, right? This whole thing, what does that look like to you? It looks like a keyhole.
Yep,
Like
that's exactly what
it's
it
a
is.
gate.
Yeah. And it's so sad that people take photos and, oh, wow, and they do these tours.
Yeah.
And they just hear the name and they don't know the story behind the statues. And they're
Nope.
sitting here oohing and awing over something that they should be like, oh, that ain't good. So,
And the Bible warns us about statues. You're not supposed to have any engraven images at all. But the Catholic
Yeah.
Church seems to think they could do that. But look at that. It looks like a keyhole. From the top view, you see in the second aerial view of the Vatican City. And
you've seen the pictures of the interior of the Vatican
Yep.
Main Hall that looks like a snake.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, and
audience
the
hall. yep.
background,
Yep.
yeah, all that stuff is just pure evil. So,
And they wanted us to think this place is holy when everything they do, like the book of Matthew destroys the whole catechism. I went through Catholicism of that. I'm a recovering Catholic. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy. And yeah, if you're a Catholic out there, God bless you. You know, you need to come to Jesus through the Bible, not the Catholic Church or any religion. We don't follow no religion, no denomination. We follow Jesus. That's the best way to go about it. If you want to dive into the Bible, guys, I don't force anything on anybody, but if you want to dive into the Bible, I would suggest don't follow no religion, no denomination. Read the Word of God for yourself. Ask the Holy Spirit to help you interpret it, and boom, you'll learn it faster and quicker than you ever do 10 years in the church. Easily. By far.
Yeah.
And plus the spiritual warfare on top of it. It's amazing. But yeah, is anything else you want to throw in there?
I don't know. I just vomited a whole bunch of info. So
Yeah, good stuff.
I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. That's what when you go, I'm just gonna go over some verses and stuff like that, and thank you so much, brother. We got to do another program again.
Okay, you guys just let me know. It was a pleasure, and thanks for everybody for watching. And yeah, stay tuned. I'm gonna once we get this deposit on the hotel, we're good to go, and I'll be promoting the hell out of this. Would love to have you there, and you could even broadcast awesome. from the event.
Absolutely, I would love to attend. Yeah, and when you get the website going, or any information, send it to me. I'll bring it back on, or just promote it, whatever the case, whatever you want to do. And I appreciate you, and thank you, John, for hooking us up here.
Yep. So, thank you, John.
All right, God bless you, brother.
All right, you take care.
You too.
Bye, everybody.
All right, so that's pretty cool. So we're not going to be long tonight, guys. I'm like exhausted. You have no idea. I'm like burnt out today. It's been a long day. My mind and body, I still think I'm a 16-year-old guy. I mean, and sometimes it doesn't work out that way. So I'm not saying I'm old. I'm 51, but I'm not old. I'm not over the hill. And but I'm still one of those excuse the French, balls to the wall, if you want to put it that way. I don't mean to sound derogatory like that. But yeah, so I am. And wrestling, powerlifting, doing the shows, spending time with the family, working a full-time job, just doing whatever. Going out exploring. I got some places to go to too, archaeological finds and everything. So I'm like into all kinds of stuff, man. We got a lot of stuff to do this summer, and it's gonna be fun. And I can't say where this place is, but we got some information on some real historical stuff, man, and real historical find. It's almost like national treasure without the actual treasure. So real cool stuff, man. I can't talk too much because if they found out, certain people found out, it'll be kind of bad for me right now. So anyway, just a review here. The GATE program, again, gifted and talented education, and this is what GATE is. It's learning, responsive programs, all these programs and all that. And I don't know if I forgot to ask doctor if the IE program, they call IEP program in the schools now, have anything to do with that. It's for children who are slow in learning or autism and all that stuff. So that was another good question too. And the GATE identification program, cognitive abilities and gifted traits and all that. And they give you the puzzles and IQ program tests during these things. And the thing is, during these tests, you might not get all this. You might get the Rorschach cards, you might get the puzzles, or you might get both, or you might get the Zener cards. So these are the things, and once you get just a quick review here, the Zener cards, the ESP test, they do this in school. Why would they be testing kids in school for ESP? Then this demonic, demented stuff, man. And if anybody's got any spiritual, first of all, Jesus, please bind any evil from we're about to listen to again, because you've got any spiritual intuition. When I listen to this, something you can feel there's something wrong with this. You know what I mean? And them using that technology that, I'm burned out. Hemisync technology, which is from the Monroe Institute, and you can't trust this guy at all. You know what I mean? But this kind of stuff you listen to. Imagine a kid, I don't know what it would do to subconscious. So I pray that this, Jesus binds any evil coming out of this from anybody listening. But this doesn't sit right in my gut, man, in my spiritual gut. And this stuff goes on, you know what I mean?
Power is what you will learn to use. So relax for a moment. Brain is beginning to act in unison. The two halves of your brain, the hemispheres, are starting to act and perform electrically as one unit. This is what is described as hemispheric synchronization, or hemisync as we call it. This greater natural brain-mind power is what you will learn to use. So relax for a moment and explore this new feeling of hemisync.
And somebody in academia to tell me, right, oh, it's just educational purposes. No, first of all, you have no clue what the hell you're talking about, because that is not educational purposes. I've been into I studied all this stuff for many decades, I should say. There is nothing educational about that. It is pure New Age garbage right there. Bottom line. And there's nothing new about New Age. New Age is thousands of years old. That is literally tapping into your consciousness in a bad way. That is accessing the pineal gland. And here's the thing too. Why do you think they use the fluoride too? You know what I mean? They want you to, calcify the pineal gland and reprogram it. Because the pineal gland is widely used, the pineal gland, I'm sorry, I get that wrong. The pineal gland looks like a pineapple, you know what I mean? And it's always a lot of, well, we could get the deep stuff about this. So why do you think the stuff's in the classrooms, well? Seriously, why do you think the same guy, he's from the government, the CIA loved his work, Monroe. His stuff is being used in the classroom, and his stuff's used in Project Stargate, the Stargate project, whatever, the Gate projects they got going on, whatever. Yeah. Why do you think it's a coincidence? But if you ask the official, oh, there's no connections, nothing to do with anything. Yeah, bull. Then why you use whatever liquid that is, or whatever they do to the children, the children don't remember what happened. And again, some people wake up and say, well, they go into the thing, put the headphones on, whatever. The next thing they're sitting in the desk again. They're back at the desk like, what, where? I thought it was just in another room. Things like that. But again, because the kids are young and the school's big, no. The kid must be tired. We gave him the fluoride rinse or whatever, you know what I mean? It just passed by the parents. And the parents, 99.9% of the time, are going to think it's the kid's imagination and he's just trying to get out of class and all that stuff. And they're going to go with the teachers say. But the teachers that tell them that have nothing to do with what's going on with the kids, nor even observe what's going on with these kids. So if you're a parent out there and you got a child, I don't care if it's 3 years old, third grade, second grade, you got a child that's telling you something, wake your butt up, okay, and listen to what that child's saying. And I know a lot of parents, I know my family, friends and all that, and I want to smack them dead across the face, literally, or across the head for being stupid. Oh, the kids imagine. Oh, the kids has imaginary friends. Oh, that's nothing. That's stupid stuff. Really? That's demonic crap. You know what I mean? You need to pay attention to what your kid's doing. Oh, he's got an active imagination. You don't know. Well, you better pay attention to that imagination. Yeah, kids got imaginations, but there's a lot of truth behind what these kids are trying to tell you. Listen to your children. Get off your damn phone. Get off. Stop gossiping people. Get off the internet for a minute. Put your games down, okay? And especially a lot of the fathers today, just complete losers today. They'll sit there and play video games all freaking day, not paying attention to the family. Get mad at the wife because she wants to spend time with you. Sit there with the hat on, like, ooh, I'm playing Minecraft or whatever, all day long. And then you got a family, you know what I mean? And it makes no sense at all, man. And these people are just burnt out, lost in space, right? And John, our son said he's seen imaginary friends or hearing things. He said something's going on in the school, and he's playing his PlayStation. It's his imagination. Don't bother me right now. I'm playing with my friend. We're playing Doom right now, and he's talking to his friend on the line, not paying attention to the family. These people are completely going lost in space. Seriously. And look at the predictive programming. You had The Simpsons come out, right? It was the first show with the dumbass father. The wife is a little weird sometimes promiscuous, right? The daughter is like, we don't know, you don't know what the daughter is. One of the kids are gay, right? So this is the families that they've been painting, census stuff, predictive program. It's all involved, all the same stuff, right? Then you had American Dad, right? The father's a dumbass. Excuse the language, guys. And the father's a complete moron. And then you got Family Guy, right? Look at that. Peter Griffin, right? Complete dummy. The wife is, she's a promiscuous. The daughter, you don't know what she is. You got one kid, the baby is like literally gay. And they had one episode that the oldest son married his father. You know what I mean? And they look at all these cartoons and the predictive programming and the crap they're putting in the kids' heads today. Our civilization's going to crap. You know what I mean? My friend, Dylan, he's a gamer, you know what I mean? And he's single, so it doesn't matter, you know what I mean? So he was showing me, he's like, dude, look what they're doing. The Rainbow Six and all these games. Now, when you play these games, they're cool, you know what I mean? And at the time, you had these big, muscular guys with these big machine guns, boom, 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 boom. And it's like, that's masculine. It's like, like that, you know what I mean? And they had this badass music playing and all that. Now, it's like a bunch of little pigeon chests there shooting rainbow guns with purple hair. They are just demasculating people, and this is all related, all of it. They don't want that masculine, you know what I mean? They want to demasculate kids, children. They do this through the mind control, the predictive program and all that, and the drugs out there. Oh, let's put your kid on Ritalin. Let's put your kid on this. Oh, your kid needs this medication. You don't need a damn medication. I can't stand all of that because I got family, right? They'll sit there, and I remember going to family houses, parties, right, whatever, to get-togethers. And I got my aunts, love them, to death, but they're sitting around comparing. Well, that's what they talk about. Oh, my doctor's got me on this and that and that, and she got the big thing of pills separated. Oh, yeah, well, my doctor's got me on this and that and that. And they're comparing. The whole conversation is about pills and stuff. And you want to come over there and just grab all those damn pills and throw them in the deal. What are you, dumb? You know what I mean? You're taking all this garbage, throwing it down your throat because your doctor said it's good for you. Now you've got several side effects. And it just, this is all related to this stuff. To dumb down society. Then when they do find that gifted person, they're going to use them for nefarious reasons. That's what the whole program is about. They're looking for certain bloodlines. They're looking for certain children with abilities to misuse that stuff for nefarious purposes. And if you think the CIA's, and I'm not saying everybody in the CIA is bad. Not at all. Absolutely not. So mostly people go there to work and, whatever the case. But the very top of the CIA is extremely evil as it comes. Plain and simple. MK Ultra programs and all that. They work with the Mossad and all these other disgusting organizations. Yeah. And so this stuff here is this. If you know anything about witchcraft, you know anything about the New Age, you know anything about cultism, frequencies is a big, big thing. When you get to the New Age, they say you got to use the frequencies, right? And you need to, and this goes into high levels of yoga too, and all that. You harness these frequencies, align your chakras up, open your pineal gland, and allow the Kundalini. There's many different aspects of this, right? And with this here, it's openly admitting the Hemisync program. Openly admitting, you just watch the videos. Deep meditation. You know what I mean? Altered state of right there. Altered states of consciousness. It alters these frequencies. Why are you altering kids' state of consciousness? Why did you alter the mind? Why did you alter docs? Why did you alter everybody that's been with this program? There's something wrong. Okay, you really need to address this. Okay, there's something wrong when they're sitting there altering your state of consciousness. That's not a good thing. The Bible strictly warns about this stuff, guys, and this is what the Bible says to keep a sound and sober mind. There's many meanings behind this. And every fiber of my being from the Holy Spirit is crying out against this garbage right here. That's why I took intro. It wasn't about a month ago. I started learning about this, and I'm like, oh, that's what that is when I went to the school. And I started gathering information, and the Holy Spirit led me into this. And John Pounders, thank you, helped me connect with Doc here. And I started putting stuff together and talked to Brother David just last night or the night before. We talked about that phenobarbital, phenobarbital, this stuff, yeah. You know what I mean? And this is a substance they were giving the kids, and they tell the parents, oh, no, it's the fluoride stuff. You know what I mean? And putting these headphones on with that hemisphere stuff and all this stuff. You know what I mean? Even the fluoride rinse. You're putting poison in your mouth, man. And that's why you need toothpaste, right? It says if you swallow more than a pea-sized amount, you're supposed to call poison control. I don't use fluoride toothpaste. But yeah, that's what you're supposed to do if you swallow more than that. You know what I mean? And this makes sense. It really does. Phenobarbital. So, phenobarbital. How's that sound? Yeah. And so it is just nuts, man. And it was Lieutenant Army Colonel Wayne McDonnell attended a week-long program in 1983. He wrote the famous declassified report, Analysis of Assessment of Gateway Process. He evaluated the Monroe Institute's techniques for achieving OBEs, remote viewing, and other non-physical. So why are they using remote viewing technology that they use in CIA and adults? Why are they doing this with children? And, you know, and again, if the teachers tell you, oh, it's innocent, the teachers don't know what they're talking about. They're not in that room, okay? They're in a classroom teaching. You get pulled out of the class, you go to another room with people you don't even know. That's not even part of the school. Those teachers think it's an advanced program, whatever. That's what they get told. And they just peddle the garbage like the doctors do with big pharma crap, right? They don't know any better. They just peddle what they're told, regurgitate what they're told, right? So this is technology used for remote viewing and ESP, altering your state of consciousness. It's over and over again. You find in all these patterns, all these programs, all these operations, all these gate things. It's to alter your state of consciousness. And again, going back to the New Age, going back to the occult world, right? That's why they induce you. They want you to take psychotropics. And anybody's been high levels of occult, they were told to take psychotropics, right? Get high, get laced, and everything else, right? Because why do you think the Indians, when they smoked the peyote, then they started seeing God, you know, so-called tree gods and all that. These are demons. They're Stoshan spirits, elemental. They're not gods, you know what I mean? So why do you think they encourage that? And in the programs, they're giving you drinks, they're giving you LSD in some places or whatever, right? And why do you think they're doing that? It's a spiritual thing. Bottom line, it's spiritual. And I don't care what some academia wants to say or what some clown from the school has to say. Yeah, this is bottom line. And why would you, again, this is like right there in your face. Feel free to go research it on your own. And as I said, the U.S. Army sent people to the Monroe Institute to learn how to, out of by experience. Boom. Yes, they did. And that's the question I asked. Yes, they did. In the late 1970s and 80s, the U.S. Army sent intelligence officers to the Monroe Institute in Virginia. The same Monroe Institute, right, that provides these sound waves for kids to put on their headphones. The same one. The same Monroe Institute that makes this Hemi technology for your kids to listen. Right? The same ones. They sent U.S. Army intelligence officers to this place as part of a psychic research program tied to Project Stargate in Center Lane. Oh, Center Lane, I don't know what that is. Let me look that up real quick. Project Center. See, you always find these other ones, man. I tell you, this is just like unreal. Yeah, right here. Look, you learn something new all the time, man. Center Lane Project is controlled remote viewing. So you not see that? Go look it up for yourself. I encourage you to do that. And if you listen on shakeawakeradio.com, the audio edition, you could do that. So, look, check that out, man. They sent U.S. Army intelligence officers to the very institute, right? Again, I'm going to repeat myself. To the very person who created these headphones for the kids, that garbage you heard on YouTube. The same stuff for people. The goal was to explore altered states of consciousness. Boom, you see that everywhere. Alter your state of consciousness. Including out-of-body experiences, OBEs, and astral projection using Institute's Hemi-Sync audio technology for brainwave synchronization. The same Hemi-Sync audio technology for brainwave synchronization, right? The very same ones that are used in your public schools. Why do you think this sounds like crazy? Hear that? Imagine listening to this garbage for 33 minutes. That's giving me a headache, man. And they get that in the damn schools. You know what I mean? And we're conspiracy theorists. And the teachers will laugh at you because they think more educated. No, they're more brainwashed. There's a big problem, guys, and if you're a kid, you need to get involved with your schools. I told my son right away, and he's educated on this now. He said, they bring you out of class, I don't care what it is. They interrupt you, say, come out of club, we got to do something. Don't do it. Don't take anything. And I don't care what the teachers say, whatever. You get your cell phone, he's got one. Call me on the phone. I don't care if you get in trouble or not, I'll cover for you. Called me on the phone, and I told him and I educated him and stuff. Yeah, so don't take part of this. And I told, which I call my niece, don't do this. You know what I mean? And because there's something going on, guys. And this is probably why we don't remember this. Hearing this. Imagine you're in that room, that dark room, right? And all you hear is that. What is it doing in your brain? Seriously, man, what's going on? You know what I mean? And I don't even want to go down that road because there's a thing called total recall. So we don't remember this stuff, but it could be a point something triggers it, and we have complete total recall, which means you remember everything that happened, and we don't know what the hell happened. Could have been a massive spiritual thing, encounters, and all that stuff, and it will unlock Pandora's box, if you want to put it that way. So this is why we need to be prayed up. This is why we need the Word of God. This is why we need the Holy Spirit, because this is some deep stuff, guys. And if they're doing this to little kids, these evil monsters, these demons, doing this to little kids, oh, you're gifted. Yeah. Everybody's gifted, right? Yeah. If they're doing this to little kids, guys, there's a big problem. And something needs to be done about this stuff. And I suggest to pull your kids out of public schools, to be honest with you. And this is what they were doing to kids. These are documented files here. These pictures here. They were doing this stuff to kids. Look at all the wires on the kid's head. Strain all urine. Why do you want to strain the urine for? A white female, age of 8 and 10 years old. Subject, I could barely read that. Well, they put her on LSD. This is MK Ultra official doc, and this was just for kids. No, that was Stargate, by the way. MK Ultra, they use children, 8 to 10 years old. Dope these kids up on LSD. Imagine a deadly narcotic they give these kids to experiment with wires on their head and to see what happens. And the MK Ultra is I could barely read that. Memory erased in her brain is that a newborn baby. So yeah, they erased her memory. This poor little girl, 9, 10 years old, erased her brain to make her think that she's a newborn baby. God bless that girl. I mean, that's many years ago. That just pisses me off to no end. Excuse my language. That they did this stuff to kids, man. That could be anybody's kid, and it's more likely a kidnapped kid or a gifted kid. We're going to put them through tests to play with its memory, and God knows what else they're doing to the kid. And, Stargate Project, remote viewing technology, the CIA's files on psychic spying. And, this Stargate was used with adults, but it could have been kids, too. Same thing, you know what I mean? ESP, this is what they did. Extrasense perception, clairvoyance, precognition, oral reading, telepathy, telekinesis, psychokinesis, prokinesis, right? So what is this called? This is called something called divination. Oh, where do we hear that from, right? We're going to get to that in a minute. So basic definition, remote viewing. It's like you can literally see or be somewhere. I'll use astral projection or remote viewing. And I've done astral projection, and not a good thing. You literally leave your body. And the Bible talks about the silver cord, right? That's the silver cord. So think of it, right? When you're in your mom's womb, you got a umbilical cord to keep you alive. Spiritually, we have a spiritual umbilical cord. So when you do these out-of-body experiences, the Bible talks about that silver cord. And that's why when these witches, they'll use astral projection to come into your room and taunt you and things like that. And they'll use telekinesis to be able to move things and everything. And so when you pray against them, you tell them, say, you come back again, I'm going to pray against you and cut your silver cord. That'll scare them real quick, because you cut your silver cord, you're done. Man, we learned that in astral projection. If that cord gets cut, that attaches you to your body, basically, in a spiritual sense. That cord gets cut, you're not going back. You're dead. You're gone. You know what I mean? And this is some deep, deep, deep doodle, okay? And right now, federal government, millions and millions of dollars are going into these programs here. And as a result of Geller's success in this experimental period, we consider that he has demonstrated his paranormal perception ability in a conceivable, in an unambiguous manner. And so we get divination, right? Yeah, they're doing divination with you, your kids, and everything else. And what does the Bible have to say about this? This goes back to the Bible. Always does. Deuteronomy 18 says, when you come into the land where the Lord your God gives you, right? You shall not learn to do the abominations. It's not a sin. It's not a slap in the hand. It's an abomination. It's detestable. Abomination means detestable before the Lord. There shall not be found any among you that makes a son and daughter go through the fire. It's like child sacrifice. That's what that is. Or uses divinization. What is divinization? All the stuff we just mentioned. That's part of divination. Scrying, astral projection, clairvoyance, we go right down the list, man. Remote viewing, all divinization. Look into crystal balls as part of scrying, whatever. Observer times, or enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consultant with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer. For all that do these things is an abomination to the Lord, and because of these abominations, the Lord God will drive you out before thee. You shall be perfect with the Lord thy God. So again, everything goes, beyond the politics and all that stuff. It goes to the spiritual agenda. And that spiritual agenda is to demonically destroy us. And if you think this clown here invented the semi-technology, no, this stuff is thousands of years old. It's called ancient fallen angel technology. This stuff isn't nothing new. Robert, whatever his name is here, Robert Monroe, he didn't invent this stuff. Unclean spirits gave him this stuff. Because again, this technology is used. They used to use technology to move stones, vibrations and all that, and frequencies. And if you notice, right, with the herbs and everything else, and then we talked about all this, right, they take God's stuff and they put that perverted twist to it. Everything. God says, right, when he created the firmament, right, the earth, the firmament, 4 days later, he put the sun, moon, and stars in the firmament to be used for signs and seasons, right? The prophetic signs and also seasons, not to tell your future. So what is the occultist still? The dark side. They'll say, all right, we're going to take those things and we're going to use them to tell your future. We're going to use them to say this is your destiny and all this stuff and, pervert God's stuff. And these herbs and all that stuff in the earth, and again, they'll pervert it and make deadly chemicals. Yeah, I mean, and it's so bizarre, it really is. And so they do this with all the sound still. God, he spoke. He spoke creation. His vibration, his frequency, whatever, spoke these things as creation through his power. So what does the world want to do? They want to mimic that by using these, we got to, excuse me for doing this, but we got to, do this stupid crap, right? I almost said the S word. Do this stupid crap, right? And we got to harness these technologies so we could astral project, so we could evolve into these spiritual gods. This is the garbage from the edge, and to talk to these ascended masters, they call them. Our ascended masters, we can evolve into these gods. It's all garbage, guys. It's all lies. And the world's doing this right there. They're trying to push this stuff on us all. And this technology, again, is nothing new under the sun, the Bible says. These people here, and I almost guarantee he was involved in some part of the cult somewhere. Because you're not going to alter people's state of consciousness if you're of the Holy Spirit. You're not going to do that. This is strictly against the Bible. That's why the Bible says keep a sound and sober mind. There's a big reason for that. And there's many other scriptures talking about the mind stuff. And this guy here had to be involved with something. And opening portals, and that's where it all comes from. It's all bottom line. And MK Ultra we talked about here, and we already talked about this stuff here, the declassified documents, and they had hearings on the stuff. They had court right here. Panel finds CIA broke the law. CIA infiltrated. 17 area groups gave out LSD. This was mainstream media. But wiped off the map now. And there was a report to the President of the Commission Act, CIA activities within the United States. An actual report, that book there, I got to try it. An actual report about CIA activities with the United States. And the president, I forget who was at the time, they were concerned, what the hell is our CIA doing? And for some reason, it just all went away. And they're still doing this garbage to people. And these God helmets, they call it, look what they're doing to people. Yeah, I mean, it's just so bizarre, guys. And guys, if you like the broadcast tonight and you want to support our program, we got a PayPal, Venmo, Cash App, and that Ko-Fi site. It helps support. We got the rent due in actually 2 days. So, it helps support our operation here and pays the rent and everything else. And I thank you guys for, the gifts and everything. And Tom and Luis, I want to thank you guys as well for your gifts there. And people have gave us I should have brought that up. I always forget something. Like every time I come up, oh man, I hate doing that. So I had a list of the people I want to, especially thank, they sent me T-shirts and whatnot and all that. Let me see if I got them on my phone. Anne Marie too, thank you for your gift as well. And Tom and Luis too, thank you. And the woman I forgot, I'm sorry. Mrs. Thompson, I think it is, sent me this shirt here. And, if people send gifts, donations, whatever the case, that's cool. This is, and also congratulations one more time to Mr. and Mrs. Brother and sister, Tim and Maris Morgan, though. And I had the privilege to officiate their wedding, so I'm excited about that. And they met on this broadcast, right in the chat room where you guys are. So I have a matchmaker now. Yeah, the damn Bidondi dating line. Just come in the chat room and hook up. Yeah, it's good stuff, man. And so, I don't have my other slides. But, if you want to write to me, I don't have this slide of my address. I'll put it out. I think 65 Manchester Street, West Warwick, Rhode Island, 02 something. I'll get the slide. I'm just burnt out. I apologize, guys. I'm mumbling now. So if you want to get a hold of me, Truth Radio Show at Outlook.com. And the links are in the chat room and on the description. Just scroll down past everything. The bio and all that. All the links are there. So check it out. And so it's been a great program. And yes, I was going to, what time is it? 11? Thank you, Bill. And thank you, Joanne, for moderating tonight. You guys are amazing. I love you guys. And I wanted to take phone calls, but I'm like, thank you, Bill. It's 65 Manchester Street, Suite 10, West Warwick, Rhode Island, 02893. Yeah, so thank you so much. And I'm going to upload this to my other channel, the Dan Bidondi Show. So if you're watching the Dan Bidondi Show, we're not live. So the right here is Truth Radio Show. And we're going to upload it to the Rumble as well. So, I was going to take phone calls, guys, and please forgive me. And I'll make it up next week. I am exhausted. I am. For some reason, I could, be a superhero today, go hit my SBD at the gym. It's a big day. SBD is like you do all the 3 main exercises. It's a long, long day. You're there for 4 hours, 3-4 hours easily. And you're exhausted. You know what I mean? Then I had to go bring my son to the doctors to get his knee looked at. And I only got literally an hour sleep. And I think during David's show, I crashed for a half hour during the show. But man, and I had to, do the wedding, do David's show, and this here. So I'm going home and I am crashing. I told my wife, clear the bed because I'm coming in for a landing, a crash landing. Boom. The Bidondi Express is going to go right into that bed and pass out until tomorrow sometime. So, thank you guys so much. And thank you for the donations and all that stuff and the prayers, number one. Oh, please keep praying for our sister, Sherry Campbell. See, I'm burnt out. Sherry Campbell, her first son, Manny. He's starting to come along, so keep the prayers up for her and everybody else. So I'm going. I'm like, ugh. I just gotta get more sleep next week. That's all. Which, I never get more sleep. It's like it's hard to sleep. You wake up in the middle of the night. Like I'll go home now. I'll crash exhausted. I wake up at 3:00 in the morning. You know what I mean? Wide awake. And I won't be able to get back to sleep till 5, 6 in the morning. That's how it is. I don't care if I was up for 48 hours. I sleep for 2 hours, whatever, and wake up and I'm like fully charged. It's like, what the heck? But anyway, I'm going to stop rumbling and I'll shut up. So love you all and God bless. Shalom. And you are the resistance. Yeah, resistance. Okay. I'll see you next week. Love you guys.